This conference will now be recorded. This conference will now be recorded. This conference will now be recorded.
You're seeing it? Okay, you're recording. It's just not coming over our speaker system. Okay, all right. Welcome, everyone. Today is July 2nd, 2024. This is a special city council meeting, and it is now 5:19 p.m. We might have some technical issues, but we're trying to remedy those. All right. I want to welcome the other council members that are here with me today. We have council members Scott Phillips, Sid Ostergaard, Aaron Cheatwood, and Yvonne Barney, along with myself, Mayor Heidi Franco. Council, is there any conflicts of interest for the one agenda item that we're discussing today?
None.
All right, we're also excusing Mike Johnston, and there are no conflicts of interest that were disclosed by the other four council members. All right, so the first agenda item that we'll discuss is the Central Heber Replacement Project, Modified Phase 1C, a construction contract and general manager guaranteed maximum price approval. Thank you very much. So we'll turn the time over to Russ Funk, who's our city engineer. Go ahead, Russ.
Okay, thank you. Should I speak in the microphone or
Just to the computer?
Yeah,
Just normal.
Just make sure your volume's up all the way and you're good, because that won't work, does it?
Yeah, I think they're working.
Just-
Apparently it might be our.
Just talk normal, Russ.
Okay. So yeah, the reason we're here tonight is to seek approval for a construction contract with BHI for phase 1C, a modified version of phase 1C. We have, as you know, we've moved forward in prior years with phase 1A and phase 1B. The agreement that we've used in both of the first two phases of this project is the same agreement that we're proposing this time. The funding package for the project was initially $43 million. This little in the staff report here, it kind of outlines where that funding was coming from. All that funding is in place and available is what we've been using over the past 3 years as this project was designed and as we've moved into construction. We've spoken to all of you about the budget shortfall. If we were to complete the whole project as we initially planned, it's about a $10.8 million deficit. So we have some options moving forward. Those options are complete as much as we can with the $43 million budget that we have in place. Two, and this is what's recommended in this staff report, is complete a modified version of the kind of a reduced version of phase 1C. There's still a budget shortfall above that $43 million of $2.286 million. The scope of this project would include 500 North, 400 North, and this is all on the east side of town. The blocks in between 400 and 500 North, and then there is all of the blocks that are between First East and Main Street. We have all of those blocks that we still have to do. There are some improvements to address the 50 East sewer line, but we wouldn't be slip lining it as was the original plan. And then of course the third option would be to complete the whole entire scope, but we would have to come up with a funding mechanism for that 10.8 million. For your information, we are gathering information, putting that in. So yes, like I said, we've kind of come up with what our minimum recommended project would be. I've got a map here in the staff report showing what the limits of this modified version are. I've kind of verbally described them, but basically everything in yellow, highlighted in yellow, is what's been completed already. And the pink highlights, if you can see those, I don't know why the computer's blacking out here, but anyway, the pink areas are what we're talking about included in this modified scope.
So the pink tone areas.
Yes.
And, and that would be the extra 2.287 million for the pink areas.
Yes. to complete that. Now, if we wanted to just do the absolute minimum, $43 million, basically we would eliminate fourth north and then the connecting blocks in between. The reason this fourth north is so important is because of how the project's been designed. That is the main sewer. Been designed to do that, and that's why we feel like that line is so important, and then those connecting blocks in between. That would just leave this other section that we would need to either come back in a future year unless the council decides we're going to go after this money and get it done. So I wanted to show you that
Let me
map.
clarify that. That's not anything, it's basically the ortho with lines going through it. It's,
Yeah, so you can't really see what
yeah,
I'm showing.
I think I know which one, where it
Anyway,
is.
yeah, it
Yeah.
just doesn't have any highlight.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Well, sorry, to clarify, so it's 300 north, 200 north, and all of the intersecting streets from 300, from, what is that? First east to fifth east, the intersecting streets, and the slip lining on 50.
Okay, so again, even with this recommended reduced budget, there's still a shortfall of just under $2.3 million. I do have a proposed financing plan here. And just keep thinking you're looking at the same thing as maybe you are. The TV's not working, so I apologize. But we have some budgeted funds that are already budgeted for projects, and then we have some non-budgeted funds.
Are you looking at that?
That is showing you in the budget where these items are coming
Okay.
from.
Is that what you're?
I was still looking at the staff report.
Oh,
That
okay.
highlights the
All right.
numbers in our actual budget.
Okay.
Basically, last year, we budgeted for stormwater improvements on Fifth North last year and this year. And the whole purpose of that was because we had to complete these storm drain improvements before we redid the road because we didn't want to come dig it up after. So that money has already been allocated for this project on top of the $43 million. And so we have 286,000 this year, 80,000 remaining last year, and it's going towards exactly what it was budgeted for. So that comes up with that money. We have an annual traffic calming improvements. We've budgeted 200,000 in the fiscal year 25 budget. I'm proposing to leave 25,000 there in case we have some signs or some other things we need to do, but I'm proposing moving the rest of the 175,000 to do this project. Similarly, we have an annual sidewalk, new construction, repair. We had it budgeted at 210,000. I'm proposing leaving 60,000 to address those most significant safety issues with the sidewalk out there, taking the other 150 and putting it toward this project. So that's money already budgeted, just allocating or reallocating it toward this deficit. The non-budgeted items, so we've got 657,000. This is from water impact fees. Again, the idea here, and this is in our master capital facilities plan and impact fee analysis, is that we can either put those water impact fees towards building a water tank and a well, or to reduce the need for those things on our system, we can expand our PI system. And so I'm proposing using that money. We have a significant surplus for the pressurized irrigation improvements. Sewer capital fund, we have over $1 million in surplus there, proposing using 512,000 of that money to go toward this deficit. Similarly, water capital, we have just over $1 million surplus, just under 300,000 is what it would take here, and then 149,000 with out of our transportation tax fund, Fund 48. So totaling all of those together, we have $2,287,000 that would fund this option. I put another comment in the staff report to be clear. I never know exactly where we're going to end the year budget-wise, how much they're going to get done. So there's probably money budgeted last year that they didn't use all of, and we're going to have to roll that over into this year's budget. That can happen again next year. It's just hard to just pinpoint exactly how much work is going to get done. But just be aware that there would be budget amendments, but it's using the same money, it's just moving it.
Okay. Oh, I see.
So my recommendation and ask to the council is this has been a priority of the council moving forward per your direction, and so we are requesting authorization to enter into this modified phase 1C construction agreement and guaranteed maximum price approval with BHI of $9,757,900. $9,757,952.46. And then I'm open to any questions you have. For modified phase 1C, $9,757,952.46. And
Comments, motions?
I just have a question real quick before. um, I guess this is more to understand, will BHI be willing to work with us, not come up with any surprise expenses? Or is that something that they're aware of our situation and where we are right now and why we're having to do and make the changes that we're making right now?
so I've been negotiating with them on this contract for, actually a couple months. So they have worked with us. They've held pricing that they gave us 3 years ago in many
Okay.
instances.
Okay.
They're doing what they can to work with us. We do have, so I wish I could show you what I'm looking at, but in the agreement, the appendixes to the agreement, the guaranteed maximum price is in there. I want to point out, in that guaranteed maximum price, there is a contingency item.
How much is it?
It is, I'm trying to get to, I believe
Is it a percentage?
350,000.
Okay.
But I want, yeah, it's $350,000. So what I want to say about that is, as we've gone along, we're in the third year of this project. We have identified, where those oversights were in our project from the first year.
So you've learned.
Yes, so we've learned. And so those storm drain, for example, is a big one. We never planned on all these culverts at every single intersection. We didn't plan on big culvert replacements on this drainage through town when we originally did this project. That was where a lot of our change order money went to in those first 2 phases. Well, now we've accounted for that as we move forward and have that. So I feel like the smaller contingency amount is okay because I identified what we can invest in the first few years.
Yeah. No.
Any other questions, comments?
High level question. So 300, well, I mean, I understand the recommendation. Recommendation is go option 2, right?
Mhm.
So my question would be, what risks are we taking on by not completing the project? So I guess the best way to ask that question is there substantial or outsized risk of the lines that are in 300 north, 200 north, and those intersecting lines right now? Is there any higher risk than there was for the rest of the project? And then the second part of that question is finishing 400 and closing up the road and then reopening it to do those connections. Is there some kind of understanding about how much costs we're incurring by closing those roads the right way and then coming back later and ripping them back open again? Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it's really frustrating to not have this displayed on
Mhm.
the TV up there, but.
What one are you looking at? What
Well,
are you looking at?
I was gonna look at the project map is what I was.
Oh,
gonna
okay.
look at.
Could you do laterals in those?
So we are.
Oh, okay.
What I was gonna say is we are getting out of the intersections with this project. We'll get the entire road paved, we'll get out of the intersections so that we won't be cutting back into the new pavement.
Great.
So
Creating a
the
stub
answer to that
out,
question is,
waiting.
all we're leaving is everything outside of those intersections where we
That
won't
was a great
cut
point.
into the new pavement, just be able to connect onto stub outs.
That's,
In
yeah.
the future with that. The other question you asked is, are we leaving ourselves open to?
Or more substantial risk is what I mean, is there?
There was a reason we were doing this project. We have very old infrastructure. That said, had a discussion with with Public Works internally, are there major sections in there that are like our biggest concerns? We feel like, although yes, these pipes are older and they do need to be replaced, there's nothing in there that's more concerning than the other areas. We did a project a few years ago on Third North that took care of a couple of blocks that was just crumbling. It was one of the worst sections. Second South was one of the worst sections for the water line. So those absolutely worst ones that are causing us problems, none of those are right in this area. That being said, yes, not finishing it, there is snow.
Even with new, depending on.
And then just for the public, and how quickly do we think we'll come back and talk about the rest? I know that there's in the staff report we're still gathering, but are we talking 6 months, next year?
We've got some meetings set up for me to meet with each of you individually and kind of go over some of those details, get your input, and then of course come back to the public, share that same information, but just trying to respond to the questions that you have, provide. So we've researched financing options. We just want to present some of that information to you, get your feedback, decide if it's something that we want to consider, and we, of course, we think that's public meeting can present it all.
Yeah, the reason I ask is just, those folks that live on 300 and 200 and these impacted roads, we're not talking 5 years down the line. We're not talking 10 years down the line. We're talking about, we'll probably align better later this year.
So, yeah, as we look into future financing options, the council will have to make a decision as to whether we pursue that now, whether we start building up the balance so we can do that in the next few years, or whether it's done when we do the other side of town. And, we don't actually have a timeline for that, because it's going to depend on when we can finance it and what the financing package looks like to the other side of town. There's a reason we started on the east side of town as well. So.
Okay, no other questions?
What is the timeline for the option 2 right now? When do they think? I know they're already working, right, on 500 North, but what kind of timeline are you looking at to complete option 2 this year? Would it go into next year? What's the timeline there?
So the agreement right now, I can't remember the exact dates, I apologize. The agreement right now, I believe, says that substantial completion will be either May or June with final completion in June or July.
Next year.
25?
Next year.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually, they think a lot of the work would be done this year, but when you start getting into
Past October. You can't.
Once you get past October, so there would be a shutdown, it would come back, there may be some paving and definitely some cleanup, landscape restoration, that kind of stuff that would take place next year. It is in the agreement, if you'll bear with me for a second, what it says right now is substantial completion June 2nd, 2025, and final completion July 2nd, 2025.
And then if, when you come back with further financing options to do the whole thing on the east side, I'd be interested to know what the timeline would be on that too.
And there would be an adjustment. The goal would be to finish it before the end of next.
It sounds like it would go into 2026 is what I'm saying.
It's possible, but that hasn't been discussion up to this point.
Interesting.
There have been some delays with kind of working through this agreement. We've tried to keep them going, particularly because we're so nervous about 500 more being both for school. So we've tried to keep them going as much as possible. It has slowed down a little bit on these unknowns right now as we work toward this.
And okay, thank you very much. Are there any other questions or motions, council? Motions?
No questions.
Motions, council?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I move that we approve the completion of option 2 to phase 1C with a budget shortfall of approximately $2,286,642 and approve the contract or the proposed GMP of $9,757,952.46.
Okay, very good. All in favor, starting on this end, please.
Aye.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, that passes 4-0.
Thanks, Russ.
So to be clear, if those surplus funds are not yet budgeted, we'll have to come back with the budget.
Yes.
That's fair.
Yes.
But yeah,
Understand.
thank you.
Matt, can you tell us your communication items, please?
Only one is the July 4th Red, White, and Blue Festival. It is a day-long event that's intended to honor independence, faith, country, and family. It kicks off at 6:30 a.m. with the Balloon Fest at the airport. We have the 5K and 10K runs beginning at 7 a.m. The patriotic walk. If you'll come dressed patriotically, you'll be able to participate in the patriotic walk, which is at 8:30. That will be led by George Washington, Martha Washington, John Adams, Abigail Adams, Uncle Sam, and Thomas Jefferson. And they're going to be handing out a silver dollar to all the participants as they come across the finish line. The Rotary will be doing breakfast from 8 to 10. There will be live music and entertainment going from 10 to 2. A free lunch for the first 1,000 people that will be cooked by the fire department. Looking for servers. If you find yourself available between noon and 1, love to have you. We also have the guns and hoses tug of war, which is at, I believe, 2:30. We destroyed them last year, and I have full expectations that we will do that again this year. We also have the strongman contest from 2:30 to 4:30, a pie eating, beer chugging from 4:30 to 5. We'll have the first
Chugging?
beer chugging, yeah, root beer chugging.
Come on, Don.
Dang it.
They can do that in the beer garden.
I'll sign up. Just kidding. Just kidding, TV land.
And we will have a very special moment between 6 and 6:30. We're going to have a color guard and someone singing the national anthem. And then we'll have the headline act beginning at 6:30. The music will be done by 9, so people can go find a place to view the fireworks, which will be shot off from Memorial Hill. So a full day. Thank you, Yvonne and Aaron, for judging the homes. We've asked all the homes along the Patriotic Walk to decorate. And we'll honor those that are deemed the most patriotic. We need help for lunchtime serving. Would be very helpful if you're available for that. But otherwise, come, enjoy the day, have fun, bring your families, bring your grandkids, whatever, and just be a part of the event.
Yeah, it will, won't it? Oh, geez. Except for the mosquitoes.
Yeah, mosquitoes and parking.
Okay, does anyone want to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
That
I
was-
second.
That was Scott, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
And that passes 4-0. We're adjourned. Thank you for coming.
Thanks. Thanks, Russ.
Thank you for the fattening shake. So appreciate it. My waistline says thank you.
Yeah, I got a milkshake out of it.
Yeah. And I got out of a meeting, so that was good. Another meeting.